Said I wanted to have a little talk with someone today because I told them I would respond to the comments, so we'll see how this goes. This is by, who is this? What does it say? This is Saul Orozco. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. So the first thing it says is there's no gray area. I feel like I'm an angel, man. It's so bright in here. I'm not really recording on this microphone, so I figured I'd let you know that. All right. So the first thing it says is there's no gray area. So we're gonna deal with that first. I made a video. I think it was the second video I posted. This is gray area. What I'm talking about is when you order something online. This is the idea, not the exactness of it. When you order something online and it takes 5 weeks, and you call them, you ask them about it, and you get it in 2 days. If you're lucky, that's great. You got it. I happen to be that black month. Excuse me. I happen to be the dude who's going to ask you, why did that happen? It's great that I got the product. I want it, of course. But I also don't want to experience waiting 5 weeks to get it. You feel me? Everybody's experienced something like that. If you live in America to one degree or another, at some point in time, something crazy happens. You ask why it happened. It gets fixed, but you never know why. You don't know why. You don't have any power in the situation. What's this channel about? Empowerment. Empowering ourselves. All right. Continuing on. It says here, white people cheated their way to the top in this sad excuse for a free country while slaves built this nation for free, just for their descendants to be shunned and scarred and blamed for their confusion. And the illegals go through this modern day slavery working hard labor for cheap because white people need to continue to stay rich. Shaking my effing head. When will it be white people's turn to pay their dues to society? I don't have the answer to that question. But guess what? That's not what this channel is about. I don't necessarily have an argument with what you're saying, but that's not what we're here for. I know. I made the post, and it said, is it really white people? Because we're talking about what we have the power to control within ourselves, what I'm doing is attempting to redirect your focus into what you have the power to control, not what people outside of you do. Now, I'm not saying that they don't do any of those things or none of these things don't exist. And I will say the ones who are in control. All right? I hope that makes some kind of sense. All right, moving along. Next one says, your focus is not in the right place, and that's exactly what white people wanted. There's a lot of blood and sweat and tears involved in doing what I do in real life. While you sit behind a computer blaming our own damage, legitimately grudge-beholding people, shaking my effing head, you're either white pretending to be a person of color or just another victim of a household that's been deprived and oppressed in this sad excuse for a country. I was pretty loaded, huh? So we're going to go through this in segments. It says my focus is not in the right place. Where should my focus be? If the point of this channel is for us to tap into our own personal power, how can you ever see it if you're pointing the finger at someone else? I would be defeating the purpose of doing what I'm doing. Doesn't make any sense. That's what we've been doing, at marching and rallying and holding up signs. Ain't nothing changed. The whole purpose behind the system being built that you're speaking of was to perpetuate that type of reality. So why would we go try to change it? Let me chill out. I think it was the message that said, build your own. If you're focusing on your own personal power, I think it kind of leads in that direction. But I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here pointing the finger at nobody, because we here to point the finger at self. Speaking of which, he says legitimately grudge behold. You know what happens when you hold a grudge and you know what that energy does to you? That destructive energy. It starts to break you down, homie. It start to make it where you don't want to look at nobody, you don't want to talk to nobody. You start to have issues, you start to have problems. See, a lot of old people, they can't walk, they can't on canes, bending up. That type of thinking. We're here to address thought patterns so that we can move forward. That's the point. Not other people. That's why there's another video I posted. And I don't think too many people got the real point. I said, yeah, I'm going to talk about your mom, I'm going to talk about all that. Because your mother, your granddaddy, your aunt, your niece, your uncle, they all have some type of thought process in their head that may be holding you up, that they passed on to you. And now you're operating under the same thing. And guess where they got it from? The same people that he's saying to point the finger at. But we not here for that. We're here to look at it ourselves and correct it. And go forward. But we got to start with learning how to tie our shoes right consistently, making up our bed right, cleaning out the tub after we wash. Things that seem to be mundane and unimportant. But when we start to do those things on a consistent basis, we start to see how much power we have. And we give less attention to what other people are doing. So, let me see. Oh, yeah, household. Last point. I grew up in a deprived household. People using drugs. Give you a couple dollars to get out their face. I've seen it. I've been on both sides of the fence. I ran the street for 13 years. I know what that like about. From the way you're talking, it sounds like we came from a similar background. You know, I watched, I think, 2 videos, and they said, they said the supervillain and the hero both come from the same household. The supervillain allowed the pain to turn him evil. So he wants to inflict pain upon others. The hero decided to keep others from experiencing the same thing. You decide which person you want to be. Pointing the finger, the way we've been doing it, it ain't gonna cut it, my boy. It's not gonna cut it, man. Hey, y'all have a good night, daytime, whatever. Thank you for coming to the White Room. I appreciate you. What's good? Oh, yeah.